What's going on, everybody? Afflicted Gamer here. Welcome back to another Division video. So the next shield, which is called Rebel, comes out October the 15th, 2018, is revolved around Resistance. So if you've already played Resistance and you're familiar with it, then basically the only thing you need to know is that the shield is not retroactive, and you do need to reach Wave 15 in Resistance again. But if you are a new and or returning player to the game, you might not be that familiar with Resistance, how the game mode works, how to prepare for Resistance, because it is an endless amount of NPCs that you'll be fighting, what type of builds you should be using, whether you are a solo player or you are in a team, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and cover in this video. Hopefully it is helpful and you guys do enjoy it. Drop a like on it if so, and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new for more Division content, and eventually the Division 2. So the first thing, whether you are solo or in a team, is pick an area. You have 3 to choose from: the Powerhouse, Pier 93, and where I'm going to go right now is the Carrier. At the moment, I am solo for the purpose of this video, to kind of show you guys what it's like whether you're by yourself. Resistance is very unpredictable. You can face a number of different combination of NPCs, LMB and cleaners, Rikers and riders, it doesn't matter. And when you're in here, the build you wear will kind of determine how much success you're going to have. So for the purpose of this video right now, I'm going to go ahead and wear Striker Classified, and by myself. Another good choice for solo players would be Classified Path of the Nomad. Now, if you're new to the game and you don't have a full Classified set, if you do have a Ninja Bike backpack, you can use that and pair it up with the other pieces of the gear sets that you do have and you want to use. So for example, if you want to use Striker but you don't have a full set, put it on the Ninja Bike backpacks, and then you will have the 4-set talent unlocked on that. And as well, you can either wear 2 pieces of a different gear set, like say Path of the Nomad, or 1-in-1, Path of the Nomad and Predator's Mark. You know, not that that is what I would pick personally, but you know, whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you find will be the most useful. Nomad is helpful in all scenarios because getting health on kill is invaluable when you are here in Resistance. Striker with the damage output is quite fantastic, to be completely honest. And other good 2-set bonuses, or even 3-set bonuses: Sentry's Call, because you've got extra accuracy and headshot damage. You know, I know some people do run the defense set. If you're in a team, defense is great, or even the 2-set bonus with protection from elites. That's always a bonus to have on your side. I would not go in here solo with anything under 6,000 stamina, because you will take a beating. And I would not also spec heavily into only firearms either, because at Wave 7, you will have a contamination event hit you, and it is pretty lethal. So when that wave comes, if your electronics are low, your skills will not be that effective and you will die. Granted, there are areas in each of the Resistance maps that you can deploy you know, your own med station, but you will have to walk over enough shade tech and collect enough to open the gates and open up the, you know, your support station, as well as constantly refilling your own ammunition. So these are all things you're going to have to weigh out, and you might have to go a few different rounds in Resistance to kind of get the flow of it and see what you can do to kind of reserve as much ammunition as you can. If you stay back and you run a skill build, then you're not really using that much ammo, but you will get hurt quite easily if you get rushed. So, I mean, it can be used. It can be used very well in a team. Solo, maybe not so much. So, for the contamination wave, I would put on the Immunizer and Overdose at the same time. Immunizer so you can take care of as many NPCs as possible while stationary. Overdose as a backup, and also because if you do have an NPC that just will not come to you and you have to run out in the open outside of your box, then you will at least have some form of healing, that along with your med kits, because trust me, if you haven't experienced it, the contamination is deadly. In terms of your talents, again, it will depend on personal preference and whether you're solo and or in a team. I'm going to go with critical save, strike back, and because I'm solo, I want to keep my enemies away from me as much as possible and do as much damage to them as possible. So precision and stomping power. That's what I'm going to go with. And I've got my overdose, my turret, my weapons. Going to go with the lightweight M4 and the giving deadly. Destructive, responsive, and ferocious, because you will get elite NPCs in here and you want to do as much damage to them as possible. So here's my setup, and we're going to go ahead and get into some gameplay and talk about this a little bit more. Okay, so now you are in Resistance. Now I've tried to actually record the second half of this video a number of different times. If there's any noise, I apologize. So, okay, it doesn't matter whether you are in a team or whether you're solo. The premise and my advice is the same to both. So, no matter where you are, Piers, Carrier, or the Powerhouse, you always start in a somewhat small and enclosed location like this. Once you've gathered enough shade tech between you and your group, or again by yourself for the purpose of the video, I am solo, you have the option to open up a door, which will start to expand your location. Now, there are a number of different doors that can be opened all over the map. There are also different things you can unlock, such as pulse beacons. Like I mentioned earlier, there's an immune station, there is a big turret. These are all in different locations on the map. Now, you will always be given different objectives. For one, I did say at Wave 7 you will get a contamination event. Tonight I actually didn't get it until Wave 9, so that can vary a little bit. The one that you will always get is scan the objective, and that will be at Wave 4 for starters. So that's why I'm not going to unlock that door just yet. You have 3 minutes to complete the data breach, so, you know, that's more than enough time. And instead of putting myself out there in the middle of the map where I could be completely surrounded while I'm trying to stay within the range of the data breach, you'll see actually a little green line attached to you, from the laptop to yourself, and that's how you know you're within range to actually finish that objective. If the line's broken, then obviously you're not close enough, so you have to move up a little bit. But yeah, I would rather not get surrounded by everybody while I am doing things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until Wave 4 before I open up the door and go and do it. The other thing is to keep an eye on how much shade tech you have, because you do need it for a number of different things. Eventually you will have to restock up on ammo and medkits because NPCs do not drop them. Like I mentioned earlier, data breaches, they could end up being somewhere that you absolutely do not expect them to be. So you need to know that you have enough shade tech on you to open up the door to get there in time. So it's habit in the division for a lot of players to constantly restock on ammo and medkits. In Resistance, don't restock until you absolutely have to. One of the things that I recommend you use as a skill, which I'm using here, is a turret. When it comes down time to do things on the fly, whether it be switch weapons, restock, open a door, a turret can not only damage the NPCs, but it can act as a distraction, buying you that little bit of time to go into your menu, especially if you don't have anyone to watch your back, like I don't here in this video. So it's a very useful tool to bring in there. I would also recommend something that's kind of a given, but just to mention it, make sure that your weapon talents are unlocked. Unless you're running a skill build with a team, of course, then it doesn't really matter as much. But if you're by yourself, I would really want to have my weapon talents unlocked on my guns to do as much damage as possible. Other weapon talents that are really useful, by the way, ferocious and predatory. When it comes to the contamination event wave especially, predatory will be one of your best friends. So I do recommend you keep a weapon fully modded and ready to swap on the fly for when that happens. You'll always be notified what you have to do before it happens. Like here, data breach imminent. It did tell me she said be prepared to scan the objective. It'll be the same thing for contamination, for boss waves, so on and so forth. Now the boss waves, real quick, we can talk about those. They start at wave 5. Then they go every 5 waves after that. At wave 15, which is as far as you really have to get, but on the off chance you want to go further, wave 15 and above have hunters. The wave 15 hunters are quite tanky. They are not like the hunters that are in the underground or in survival. Those ones are a joke. These ones have a health bar, and if I'm not mistaken, they have a name. I didn't go up to wave 15 tonight for this video, but they are very, very tanky, and it takes a lot to kill them. Usually you get 3 hunters as your bosses. And it's the same way, the further you get in, the tougher they get, along with the rest of the NPCs, and sometimes you'll get regular bosses and hunters at the same time, and that can be quite challenging. So that's why you want your weapon talents unlocked, and that's why you want, specific builds in here. When I said that your build kind of determines your success, it's not just the build, obviously it's the player as well, but if you're using a build that you know you're good with, one that you can do enough damage and keep your health up with, that's going to increase your chances of survivability. Little tongue twister there. Other things, like I said here, you will unlock things as you progress through the map. As you can see now, I've unlocked ammo caches, grenade caches. Right here is a pulse beacon to my right, and then there is the scannable objective. There will always be an indicator as to where you have to go and what you have to do. So for this here, like I said, as long as you have the green line attached to you, you're in the safe zone. And if I would have opened these doors any sooner, like I've got enough NPCs around me here, this isn't it's not a terrible location, but he can lob grenades from the bay too, which is actually one of the doors you can open for a big turret. So now look, I'm kind of in a bit of a bad spot here because of the flames. I can't get too close, but I also don't want to stray. I've got 50 seconds left. Now when it comes to data breach, if you are down to 0 seconds, but you are still beside the laptop, you will not fail and the timer will not go down. If you leave the area, you will fail the objective. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. It's not hard in the first few waves, but if you plan on going past wave 15, then it can be quite challenging. Other things that are on the resistance maps are the resistance caches, which have classified gear and a chance at getting exotics. So if you're running with a team and that's something you want to go after, you guys will have to decide that amongst yourselves, and they are in different locations on each map. So boss fights also, again, real quick, you're going to see some familiar faces. You'll run into Larray Barrett again, you'll see Joe Farrow again, you'll get to see some old bosses that you've killed before in Resistance, which I think is pretty cool. So, but yeah, that pretty much covers everything that you need to know for the shield that we have coming up. Quick little recap. As you can see, I'm down to 990 rounds, but I know I'm not going to open up the big bay door just yet, so I restocked. One person can restock for the whole team if you have a group. If not, and you're running solo, well, you can always put on the ammo cache if you want to, instead of an immunizer or a support station if you're confident enough that you can keep yourself alive. And the boss fights are always on a timer, so make sure that you kill the boss before the timer expires, or else you have failed not only the objective, but then you have to start back at wave 1 in Resistance. That goes for everything, with the data breaches, so on and so forth. So, but yeah, that is it, guys. That is Resistance. If you haven't given it a try, I absolutely recommend doing it, not only just for the shield, but to go in there and have fun. It's the Division's sort of horde mode, but it's cool to see all of the enemy factions working together. It's a different part of the map. It's a really nice part of the map, actually. I really enjoyed my time in this game mode. It was a nice change of pace, refreshing, and I don't know, just overall enjoyable. And especially if you are with a group, all of the different things that you can unlock and different challenges you can go up against, it is a lot of fun. So, but yeah, anyways, guys, I am out of here. Once again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like on it if so. Don't forget that you can always follow me on Twitter at AfflictedGamer, and the stream times for me to be live here on YouTube will be at the end of the video. I will be streaming the shield, so if you do need help with it, drop on by and let me know, and you guys are welcome to join. Other than that, Good luck with Rebel agents. I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you in the next live stream. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching.